Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Rajya Sabha adjourned for the day over opposition protests on several issues. BSP chief Mayawati tenders resignation from the upper house after staging a walkout. Lok Sabha adjourned after Congress and TMC members protest in the House. BJP members from Karnataka demand protection of honest officers in the state. Venkaiah Naidu and Gopal Krishna Gandhi filed papers for vice presidential election on the last day of filing nominations. Polls scheduled to be held on August 5th. And heavy rains and floods leave a trail of destruction. Death toll rises to 11 in Gujarat. In Odisha, non-stop rains displace over 40,000 people in 80 villages. Well, BSP chief Mayawati tendered her resignation today from the Rajya Sabha for allegedly not being allowed to speak about atrocities against Dalits. The government rejected her allegations against the Uttar Pradesh government while maintaining that the people had given a resounding mandate for the BJP in the state.
BSP chief Mayawati on Tuesday mounted a strident attack against the Uttar Pradesh government in the upper house. But even as she criticized the state government for its handling of the caste violence in Shabbirpur village in Saharanpur district, the chair asked her to tender a notice under appropriate rules to initiate a discussion.
I allowed you. I told you 3 minutes.
As the Treasury benches objected to the allegations and the chair urged her to conclude the statement, Mayawati said she will resign right away if she was not allowed to speak in the House.
I have so many names. I have so many. Look here.
The government refuted all charges and asked Mayawati to apologize for allegedly insulting the House.
जिस तरह से उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता ने इनको राजनीतिक रूप से परास्त किया है, उसमें भी और उसकी हताशा और निराशा दी और इसके साथ शेर को धमकी देना, सर शेर को धमकी देना बिल्कुल कतई अनएक्सपेक्टेड है। उन्हें माफी मांगनी चाहिए। शेर को धमकी देने का मतलब ये हुआ कि शेर का अपमान है और सर वो सारी बंद की जाए और माफी मांगे।
Flanked by BSP members, Mayawati then walked out. Mayawati's term ends next April. According to Rajya Sabha rules, a member who intends to resign must write to the chairman. If the member hands over the letter in person and conveys to the chairman that the resignation is voluntary and genuine, the chairman may accept it immediately. But if the chairman receives the letter by any other means, he may make inquiries to determine if the resignation is voluntary and genuine. If he determines otherwise, the chairman may reject the resignation. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, joining me for a chat right now is our correspondent Vishal Dahiya. Vishal, a heated moment there. The vice chairman as well as Mayawati from the BSP, and you know she's clearly trying to reach out to her vote bank, the Dalits in UP.
Well, Frank, that's what the politicians do when they are raising the issues related to their respective constituencies or the states. They try and send a message to their voters, to their respective segments they belong to or they represent. This particular episode, which transpired in the upper house today, seems to be taken on that ground by the political critics of Mayawati. But to take her point further, Mayawati has now put in her papers. In fact, she is just a short while back met the chairperson, handed over the resignation signed by her. It's around a 3-page document wherein she has detailed all the allegations which she was leveling inside the House. She's once again reiterated that if she was not allowed to speak in the House, if she's not allowed to go ahead and raise her point on the floor of the House, then it does not make any sense for her to continue in the post. And this is something which might seem unprecedented at this point in time, but then the kind of frictions which have been ongoing between the Treasury benches and the BSP members and other opposition parties, also specifically after that emphatic victory BJP had in the state of Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections, it was a clear indication that there are going to be much sharper such episodes which might be witnessed both inside and outside the House, and today's incident can be termed as an extension of that push and pull which has been going on between, or rather the war of words which has been going on between the ruling BJP, which also is now the ruling party in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and other opposition parties which have now lost very miserably to the BJP in Uttar Pradesh elections as well as at the center.
Mayawati's term, of course, ends in April 2018, and mathematically speaking, a re-election is near impossible.
Well, yes, it is clearly impossible until and unless she manages to enlist the support of her arch rival, the Samajwadi Party, because if you look at the arithmetic of the Uttar Pradesh Assembly, then it's quite clear that BJP has the strongest presence in the Assembly out there, and the kind of numbers which you need for being re-elected to the upper house from the state of Uttar Pradesh are clearly not with Mayawati, even if she gets the support of the Congress Party, which again has legislators in single digits. She does not reach that required number strength of numbers, and clearly if till the time the Samajwadi Party is not willing to go ahead and lend a helping hand to her, it would not be possible for BSP to go ahead and ensure Mayawati, that's their president's re-election to the upper house, either now or if it would have been 8 months from now as well.
Sure, all right. Vishal Dahiya, we'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much for joining us there with all those details. Now, the Congress staged a walkout in the Rajya Sabha on Tuesday after claiming that the opposition was being gagged. Leader of the opposition, Ghulam Nabi Azad, said that the opposition wasn't being allowed to discuss discrimination being faced by Dalits and minorities. The government, however, said that it was ready to discuss all contentious issues.
Opposition parties tried to corner the government in the upper house on issues. Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad said notices have been given to discuss the farmer crisis, the anti-Dalit violence and lynching of minorities. He accused the government of stifling the opposition's voice in the house.
All party meeting परसों माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की उपस्थिति में हुई थी। हमने उसमें स्पष्ट बताया था कि विपक्ष हाउस को रोकने में, हाउस की कार्रवाई में बाधा डालने में कोई रुचि नहीं रखता। अगर अपोजिशन चाहती है तो वो सिर्फ जो देश में मुद्दे, जो तकलीफें हैं, चाहे वो किसान की हो, मजदूर की हो, दलित की हो, अल्पसंख्यक की हो, व्यापारी की हो, मजदूर की हो, उनको उठाना चाहेगी।
Congress members staged a walkout from the house as a mark of protest.
चले आए अब सरकार, हम इस सरकार के साथ हैं।
CPM leader Sitaram Yechuri criticized the government's policies, which he said were pushing farmers to the brink of suicide.
We are saying these are the issues. Attacks on Dalit, atrocities are growing. No, attacks on minorities, atrocities are growing.
That's why I'm saying
farmers are being pushed to suicide. Thousands are here in Delhi today, protesting, demanding what this government itself promised. They promised 1.5 times the minimum support price from input costs. 3 years, they have not done that. They have to listen to
the government was quick to rubbish all charges.
Opposition members, however, trooped into the well of the House and raised the pitch against the government. 0 hour and question hour were washed away as the standoff prevailed between the opposition and the Treasury benches. The House was first adjourned till noon, then till 2 p.m.
House is adjourned up to 12:00 hours.
Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the second day of the monsoon session in the Lok Sabha saw uproar over the condition of farmers and cow slaughter, among other issues. Speaker Sumitra Mahajan adjourned the House till Wednesday. Opposition members created uproar on several issues, leading to disruptions in the House proceedings. The Congress and TMC members were on their feet shouting slogans and walking into the well of the House, while BJP members from Karnataka displayed placards seeking protection of honest officers.
आप कुछ बोलना नहीं चाहते। The House stands adjourned to meet again on Wednesday, 19 July 2017 at 11 a.m.
Well, the NDA-backed Venkaiah Naidu and the opposition's choice Gopal Krishna Gandhi filed their nominations for the vice presidential elections on Tuesday. Venkaiah Naidu filed his papers in the Parliament complex with BJP President Amit Shah, senior leader Murli Manohar Joshi and leaders from BJP allies present by his side. Prime Minister Modi, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj were among those who proposed and seconded Naidu's candidature. The BJP's parliamentary board had yesterday picked Naidu as the NDA's vice presidential nominee. Naidu resigned as Urban Development and Information and Broadcasting Minister hours before filing his nomination papers.
So I assure the people that on being elected, I will uphold the traditions and standards set by worthy predecessors and uphold the dignity of the office of the Vice President of India. So it will be my endeavour to strengthen that parliamentary democratic system.
Well, former West Bengal Governor Gopal Krishna Gandhi also filed his nomination for Vice President in the presence of senior Congress and other opposition leaders, including JDU. Gandhi was picked by 18 opposition parties to be their nominee for the post of Vice President. The Vice Presidential election is scheduled to be held on the 5th of August.
जनता और राजनीति के बीच में एक बहुत बड़ी खाई बनी। मैं नागरिकों की ओर से उस खाई को मिलाना चाहता हूं, उसको कम करना चाहता हूं।
Well, Textiles Minister Smriti Irani has been given the additional charge of the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. Irani was handed over the ministry following the resignation of M. Venkaiah Naidu from the cabinet to contest the vice presidential poll. The portfolio of urban development, which too was with Naidu, was given to Narendra Singh Tomar, Minister for Social Justice and Empowerment. The BJP had on Monday decided to field Naidu as NDA's candidate for the post of vice president. The Supreme Court has decided to set up a 9-judge bench to examine whether right to privacy is a fundamental right under the Constitution. The Supreme Court decision to form the bench came while hearing petitions on linking of PAN card with Aadhaar. A batch of petitions has challenged the constitutional validity of the Aadhaar scheme, alleging that the Aadhaar scheme infringes the fundamental right to privacy. The 9-judge Supreme Court bench headed by CJI J.S. Keher will start hearing from Wednesday. There is no respite from heavy rains in coming days, says the Met Department. Heavy rainfall is expected in parts of Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha and Chhattisgarh. Meanwhile, the death toll across the country due to heavy floods has risen to 76.
Heavy rains and floods continue to wreak havoc in parts of the country. Death toll due to rain in Gujarat rose to 11 after 2 more people were reported dead in the last 24 hours. While rescue and relief operations continue in the rain-affected areas, the Meteorological Centre has predicted light to moderate rain in several parts of the state over the next 2 days.
नवसारी में पिछले 24 घंटे में काफ़ी बारिश हुई है गंदेवी और चिखली तालुका में 250 से 300 mm लगभग 10 इंच जितनी बारिश हुई है।
In Odisha, 40,000 people in 80 villages remain displaced due to the flash floods in Nagavali and Kalyani rivers, triggered by incessant rains in Rajya district and Hati and Tel rivers in Kalahandi district. 2 people have died and 8 others injured in the flood-affected districts. The twin cities of Bhubaneswar and Cuttack have also been affected due to the incessant rainfall since Saturday.
The flood situation in Kalahandi and Rajya districts is improving. Free kitchens have been opened for affected people in those areas, as well as in Cuttack city. Airdropping of relief materials has been done in Rajya district.
Across the country, death toll from this severe monsoon flooding has risen to over 76. Arunachal Pradesh and Assam have been the worst hit, with over 60 people killed in Assam alone. Authorities in Assam are running 156 relief camps and distribution centers in 13 districts, where 18,931 persons are currently taking shelter. Parts of Arunachal Pradesh have also witnessed the worst flooding and landslides in years amid more than a week of incessant rain. To make matters worse, there will hardly be any respite from rain this week. The Met Department has sounded off a fresh alert of monsoon depression forming over coastal Odisha and the North Andhra Pradesh coast, leading to wet to very wet spell for east and central India during the next 4 to 5 days. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, fresh violence broke out in Darjeeling's Mirik area on Monday, with pro-Gorkha land supporters clashing with police and setting on fire 2 security vehicles and an outpost. Gorkha Janmukti Morcha alleged that its supporter Ashok Tamang was killed and another person injured in the incident. They accused the police of opening fire at pro-Gorkha land activists, a claim the police denies. According to police officials, trouble began when pro-Gorkha land supporters pelted stones and hurled petrol bombs and glass bottles at the police, after which the police retorted with batons and tear gas shells. The GJM plans to take out a rally with Tamang's body in Mirik on Tuesday, the 34th day of the indefinite shutdown. They also plan a sit-in outside the district magistrate's office to press for their demand for a separate state. An all-party meeting is scheduled to be held in Kalimpong to decide on the next course of action. Army troops continue to maintain a vigil in Darjeeling, Kalimpong and Sonala. Except for pharmacies, all other shops, restaurants, schools and colleges were shut and internet services remain suspended.
हम लोग शांति से रैली करें, उसके ऊपर वो निर्दोष लोग को गोली ठोकर मारे। हम ऐसे नहीं चाहते, सिर्फ हम चाहते कि आप गोरखालैंड, we want Gorkhaland and Bimal Gurung जिंदाबाद।
Let's now take a look at some more stories from across the country in Nationwide. Karnataka government constituted a 9-member committee to study the possibility of designing a separate flag for the state and providing its statutory standing. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah defended the move and said that there was no constitutional provision against it. If the flag comes into being, Karnataka will be the second state to have its official flag after Jammu and Kashmir, which enjoys a special status under Article 370 of the Constitution. Benchmark Sensex today slipped from the life highs to end sharply lower at 31,710.99 by falling 364 points. Nifty also cracked below the 9,900 mark. It followed a steep plunge in ITC Limited stocks after the GST Council hiked tax on cigarettes. Other cigarette stocks, Godfrey Phillips and VST Industries, also tanked by up to 7.83%. Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop held talks with her Indian counterpart Sushma Swaraj in New Delhi today. The two leaders met for the Foreign Ministers' Framework Dialogue and discussed ways to deepen regional engagement, defence and also security issues. Bishop, who is on a 2-day visit, will also meet Indian Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and call on Prime Minister Narendra Modi later in the day. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
think they're ready to surrender.
आईएनए की बागी फौजियों पर अंग्रेज देशद्रोह का मुकदमा चलाएंगे।
उन तीनों के बचने के चांसेस कम हैं।
ये कोई आम केस नहीं, कोर्ट मार्शल है। बोला भाई, एक केस आप कांग्रेस के लिए नहीं, सुभाष बोस के लिए लड़ी।
Lieutenant Gobak Singh Dillon, Captain Shah Nawaz Khan, Captain P.K. Sehgal. Section 41, waging war against the king. You are charged with murder. Do you plead guilty to the charges read out?
ईमानदारी से आजादी के लिए लड़ने वाली अगर कोई फौज है तो उसका नाम है आजाद हिंद फौज।
The safety, honor and welfare of your country comes first, always.
British Indian Army hand you over to the Japanese Imperial Army.
हिंदुस्तान और अंग्रेजों के बीच एक धागा था, वो टूट गया।
इस बार कुछ ऊपर नीचे हुआ तो देश में बवाल मच जाए। अब जनता किसी अंग्रेज को नहीं छोड़ेगी।
रात दिन अपने सीने विच वजदी आजादी दे राग नू बंद कर ला।
अंग्रेजी अफसरों ने साडी हिफाजत नहीं की, तो वो हमारी वफादारी के हकदार किस तरह हो सकते हैं?
आज हिंदुस्तानी फौज के पास अपना असली मकसद है, हिंदुस्तान की आजादी।
तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा।
ये मुकदमा पूरी इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी का है।
क्योंकि हमने वो दिन देखा है जब हमें ऐसा लगा था कि हमने हिंदुस्तान को वाकई आजाद कर दिया।
देश की आजादी की लड़ाई कोर्ट में लड़ी जा रही है और इस वक्त पूरा देश एक साथ तैनात है।
This trial and its judgment shall be remembered throughout history.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the Republican Party's efforts to repeal and replace Obamacare was fatally wounded in the U.S. Senate on Tuesday. Two of McConnell's Senate conservatives announced that they would not support the latest version of the bill. The current development gave a big blow not only to Republicans who have rallied against the law for years, but also President Donald Trump, who strongly opposes the former President Barack Obama's healthcare law.
In yet another setback to US President Donald Trump's long-promised efforts to revamp Obamacare, two more Republican senators announced their opposition to the legislation on Tuesday. Just hours after the Senate was called back into session, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was handed two more public defections on his health care bill. Senators Mike Lee and Jerry Moran said they could not support Majority Leader McConnell's legislation in its current form. In response, Trump said on Twitter, Congress should immediately repeal Obamacare and start from a clean slate on a new health care plan. Last week, Senate Republicans already lost the votes of Senator Rand Paul and Susan Collins after McConnell released the bill. With Senators Mike Lee and Jerry Moran also joining the opposition, McConnell no longer has enough votes to pass a Republican health care bill. It was the latest in a series of healthcare setbacks for Republicans, despite their control of both chambers of Congress and the White House. However, Republicans argue that Obamacare is a government overreach, costs too much money. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Here's a roundup of all the other news from across the world in Global Buzz. Fire broke out in book-shaped skyscrapers in central Moscow. As per the sources, the fire started on the 7th floor where repair works were underway and engulfed the area of about 200 square meters. 60 firefighters and 21 fire engines have been used to extinguish the fire. Heavy rainfall triggered flash floods in Istanbul with water gushing through subways and blocking roads. Rain started after midnight and the heavy downpour submerged inner city roads, flooded cars and inundated apartment buildings. Traffic in Turkey's Bosphorus Strait was suspended due to poor visibility and heavy rain. Thunder and hailstorms battered Druili city in southwest China's Yunnan province. Objects were viciously blown away by the strong wind. Trees were toppled over and parked cars were crushed. As per the weather department, the maximum rainfall reached 59.1 millimeters. No casualties were reported. Well, moving on to some sports news now, where the BCCI has appointed Bharat Arun as the Indian cricket team's bowling coach, ending days of suspense surrounding the position. Arun was India's bowling coach during Ravi Shastri's previous tenure as team director, and Shastri is believed to have insisted on his appointment during his second stint as well. The BCCI also decided to retain Sanjay Bangar as assistant coach and R. Sridhar as fielding coach till the end of the 2019 ODI World Cup. The appointments mark a complete U-turn for the BCCI, which had named Zahir Khan as bowling consultant and Rahul Dravid as batting consultant. However, Shastri and BCCI officials have made it clear that Khan and Dravid's inputs will be invaluable.
They are two fantastic cricketers of India, and their inputs will be invaluable. They will be on board once they've spoken to the authorities concerned.
That he wanted his core team. These other two gentlemen he has spoken to personally, they will be consultants, and as you've already heard, their contributions are going to be invaluable.
Well, that's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.